travel and trash.
It's my first time to see something like this, so I'm taking over.
Find out why these international travelers are at Irving's landfill. State of the City.
We're Irving, Las Colinas, and we are where you want to be.
Many points of pride are shared at this big event. We have highlights. New team.
Couldn't be more excited, more proud of what's going on.
Police focus resources on cases involving mental health issues. It's an initiative that is a first in Texas. Plus, around-the-clock progress on Irving's signature bridge and the work to clean up a historic cemetery. Now on City Source. Hello and welcome to City Source. I'm Thomas Gandy. Our top story today, Irving Mayor Rick Stopfer shares accomplishments of the past year at State of the City. The annual event is hosted by the Chamber of Commerce at the Irving Convention Center, and the main ballroom was packed. WFAA anchor and Irving resident John McKay chatted with the mayor about a lot of the highlights from the past year and also looked ahead. This year's theme was Building for the Future. They covered all areas of the city and touched on topics ranging from the arts and infrastructure to public safety and business.
Well, we've been so fortunate in the city of Irving. We've seen a growth in our population, and we've seen the development spread across the market. We're seeing new single-family housing. We closed on 573 new single-family homes last year in the city of Irving. Now that's something when we're back in the single-family business again. And we're seeing the commercial development. Over in your neighborhood, you see that nice new big over 1 million square foot building of Pioneers coming out of the ground, and we're excited to see what's going to happen on that real estate as well.
The mayor presented the Corporate Award of Excellence to Toyota of Irving in recognition of its community involvement, and Brad Watson, with presenting sponsor, locally based TXU Energy, talked about the company's impact in Irving and announced TXU will return as sponsor next year. You can watch the full event on our YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/the City of Irving. The Irving Police Department launched a new mental health response team described as the first of its kind in the state. We were there for the announcement and learned more about the impact officers hope to make.
I feel like this is something that is definitely a necessity.
Of all the calls Irving police officer Joshua Wright responds to,
we had one recently. The guy was calling himself God.
Those involving mental health can be among the most challenging.
Somebody's going through depression, somebody's bipolar, somebody's schizophrenic, and we run into those a lot.
The calls can be confusing and even dangerous.
And we look at it like, why are you not, following the rules? Why are you not going? Everybody knows how this works, but they don't.
Stressful for you, stressful for them.
Oh, yes. Yeah, without a doubt.
Now he has new knowledge after in-depth training. How has this training helped you be able to respond to these calls now?
It gives us that patience. It gives us the techniques to be able to reach into those people that normally you wouldn't be able to talk to as an officer just because you're uniform. And it allows us to break all those things down.
He's on the Irving Police Department's new mental health response team, just announced during a news conference at the Criminal Justice Center.
The need for this team has never been greater. 3
specially trained officers and a mental health professional are now better able to handle these calls.
Let me start with how we respond before today. 911 call comes in, we send whatever 2 officers are available. No matter what their experience, no matter what their level of training has been in dealing with mental health needs, they get there and do the very best that they can.
What were those interactions like? I guess a lot of uncertainty.
Yeah, without a doubt. Because you don't know. It was so hard to pick up on somebody that's schizophrenic or bipolar.
With the new team and all of the resources and knowledge that come with it, the response is now different.
Now you have specially trained police officers who are aware of all of the services available, who are aware of all the diagnoses that are there because they have that partnership with the clinician.
We're working together to strengthen what we have.
At this event, reps from community agencies shared how they are involved.
We're going to work as partners and make this happen. We want to free up law enforcement to do what law enforcement needs to do, which is public safety. And then we need to have avenues for people who need mental health help and are not really a violent threat to us.
IPS is an outpatient behavioral health clinic, and we are currently the only clinic actually located in the city of Irving that is providing services to the indigent population.
They are part of our behavioral health leadership team, and they decided in order to sort of support us in our mission to help citizens of Irving, they opened up a clinic here in Irving. So we're able to, when we encounter people that need to get some help with getting back on medications, we can just pick them up and drop them off over there, or we can just refer them.
This is a really proud moment for the city of Irving, that we were able to recognize this issue, work and build this program, for the police department to step up, take ownership of it, build this team, include the many different partners that are involved in this to help solve a big issue inside of our city.
This announcement comes as Irving sees a bigger need than ever before. The police department reports mental health calls for service were up 17% in 2018.
That demand continues to increase. Again, all the federal and state resources have gone away. The state has really pushed this problem down to the local level, and it left it up to us to figure out how to deal with it.
They believe this team is the best solution, not only responding to calls, but also being proactive.
Part of this program will be when they're not responding to calls for services, they'll be following up with those folks in our community that we know have these special needs. They'll make sure that they're on their medicine, that they're seeing their doctor, that they're doing the things to stay mentally healthy. So I see those calls coming down. I see our officers' time being freed up, the time that we spend answering these calls. I foresee less uses of force, less opportunities for our officers or our residents to be involved in a violent encounter because of the training.
It's amazing to see how many people actually reach out for help.
Officer Wright appreciates the knowledge and finds that it's working.
We had one lady that's called us 75 times in 6 months, and we got her help. We haven't received any calls from her since.
And as word of the team and its training spreads, he is hearing from officers across the department.
It's really awesome to see that officers have compassion in that aspect, where they go out of their way to make sure that, hey, this person needs help.
They are helping to serve everyone in the community. And you can find more police news on our Irving Police playlist at youtube.com/the City of Irving. We have some welcome news for joggers, cyclists, and walkers. Much of the northern Campion Trail has reopened. It had been closed for a while after flooding from the Elm Fork of the Trinity River sent water over the trail in many areas. The video you're seeing here is from Sam Houston Trail Park, and when we were there on a chilly day, a few people were again enjoying the outdoors there. There's still a little work to do in a few spots, including at Bird's Fort Trail Park, but most of it is open. The flooding did cause some delays for crews needing to put finishing touches on the newest extension of the Campion Trail. It will add 2.7 miles, going from the north end of Sam Houston Trail Park, under MacArthur Boulevard, and into Capel. It is now scheduled to be complete in the spring, with an opening ceremony tentatively planned for summer. A Dallas County grant is funding that work. In our ongoing series on infrastructure, work is progressing on Irving's signature bridge spanning State Highway 114 at the former stadium site. You could see some of it here in time lapse as our team had multiple cameras in the work zone to give you these views of this major step. TxDOT contract crews worked overnight hours pouring concrete as the construction moves forward. A little of this work could be done with the highway underneath them open, but as they continued, they closed all lanes. By the way, they had announced that closure in advance and published detour maps to prepare drivers. Also, they did this work late and on the weekend to minimize traffic disruption. The goal of the signature bridge is to make the area more accessible and appealing for developers. The state is paying for the bridge construction, and the city is funding aesthetic features through a stadium site economic development fund. Irving Mayor Rick Stopfer explains.
Basically, because they took out 2 bridges, the TxDOT has in their plan to put this one back in. Well, as we started to incorporate some things that we wanted to really make it a signature bridge, we were able to utilize dollars that we had received from the stadium site prior to being evacuated. We were able to, through Brimer dollars, create revenue that can only be utilized on this site. So it was an opportunity to incorporate some of the things to make it an iconic bridge, similar to the iconic stadium that used to be there. And we're incorporating some of the looks of the beams and things of that nature, so it has a resemblance of the old Cowboy Stadium.
The finished bridge will accommodate both drivers and pedestrians. Eventually, a Dart Orange Line stop is also expected there. The bridge is expected to be complete late this year, and you can see more of this video at the end of today's show. And in other infrastructure news, we have been following the progress and the efforts to improve Millennium Fountain near the South Irving Library. Crews poured concrete that will serve as the base for a small building that will house the fountain's controls. That will be delivered soon. All of this work is designed to prevent problems and keep the fountain working.
We've had that pump system's been down in an underground vault. We've had some situations to where rain events and some broken pipes have flooded the vault and had to replace the pumps. So it's all going to be brought up above ground and put into a pump house, if you will.
Crews are expected to deliver the new building in just a few days, and we'll have that to show you next time. That's also when we'll tell you about the new lighting that will give this favorite photo spot even more visual appeal. While all of this work is underway, the fountain will remain closed. It is expected to reopen around mid-year. Of all of the tourist attractions in Irving, from the Mustangs to the Music Factory to Veterans Memorial Park and other spots, there is a massive space you may not realize draws visitors, but there is a big reason why they are stopping by, some on their very first time in America. These international travelers are taking pictures to remember their visit to a spot most tourists would skip.
It's my first time to see something like this, so I'm really taken over.
For me, it's first time in US.
They are at Irving's Hunter Ferrell Landfill, and their trip is all about education. They traveled from across the world.
I'm from Bangladesh.
I'm from Lebanon.
To learn all about what happens here.
They are graduate students whose goal is to work in the solid waste industry in their respective homelands.
Out into the waste stream.
And there is a big reason why it's important for them to get a close-up view of all this.
In my country, there are no establishments like this. They are mostly dump sites.
There is no landfill in our country.
And they don't have a constructed, engineered landfill in most of their countries. So to get to see that is kind of a great opportunity for them.
It tells us our elevation.
This landfill is one stop for these students participating in the International Solid Waste Association's Winter School, hosted by the University of Texas at Arlington.
We're in the process of constructing new landfills, so I want to learn more about how they're actually operated.
They're going to put soil on the top of that and they'll cover all of this.
Right now, they are at the landfill's working phase, an about 200-foot wide space where trucks deposit the day's waste. And while this is a first look for a lot of these students, other countries have advanced operations like what they're seeing here. But everyone here is finding something to learn.
What drew my attention was the narrow working phase. It's very narrow, it's very small, which is a good thing because then you can actually minimize the odor.
And they are also seeing some areas for improvement.
It's good, but we are surprised. We're just discussing that there is no recycling of some materials that should be recycling.
We'll keep the working phase narrow.
There are a lot of observations to make and lessons to learn over their 2 weeks in North Texas.
I make a lot of decisions on the data and it starts right here.
This is the fourth year Irving's Solid Waste Services team is participating in this school, and over that time, they have reached students in 75 countries.
We want to be an example.
In just this one visit, the students also check out Irving's new scale house and see what's ahead here.
We're in the process of building our next cell here, so what they'll get to see is how that whole process goes from the bottom up.
They are learning a lot of lessons they plan to take with them.
It totally changed my perspective how to deal with these things.
It's a tremendous opportunity, and that's the really rewarding part of this, is that we know that we are influencing the management of solid waste for decades to come.
I'm really pleased that I came here because at least I know when I go back home, I'd suggest ways of coming up with establishments like this one.
Lessons learned in Irving that will be shared across the planet. Yeah, and in addition to their visit to the landfill, the students also had a chance to check out the various vehicles used in solid waste collection. In other news from Solid Waste Services, the department is hosting its next home chemical collection and electronics recycling event on Saturday, February 23rd from 9 a.m. until 1 p.m. at the Briery Municipal Compound. The disposal event is free, but residents must get a voucher by calling 972-721-2232. A historic site in Irving got a much-needed cleanup thanks to some hardworking volunteers. Take a look.
The reason we did this is to celebrate the memory and legacy of Dr. King.
Martin Luther King Jr. Day was a day that we selected for this outreach project just because he was a great voice in drawing our country together and striving toward equality and healing that we really needed, and so we're trying to continue on that legacy.
We have people of all different backgrounds out here today, and to be on a day for Dr. King, I think is especially remembrance of his legacy and the character, and he wanted people to come together for peace, and this is a great example of it.
It's nice to see that kids can help out with historical moments and stuff, like everything that happened in history, so they can learn about what happened a long time ago. It makes me feel, one, happy that we see so many people out here, and two, kind of sad, because I'm half African American, and so these are sort of my people, so it's kind of sad. But it's just, again, nice to see everybody coming out here.
I'm glad something like this is still preserved, because there's so many, especially the slaves that were a part of our history, that we have no identity at all of them or no remembrance of them.
There's a lot to do out here. So right now we're in the cleanup portion. The harder part is going to be trying to restore some of the native burial plantings that designate different family sections so that we can eventually, we'd like to put a marker out here that shows where various peoples and families are buried, and it goes along with the genealogical project that we're working on as well.
So all these people that's gonna come today, I can hear Martin Luther King saying, thank you. That's what I'm saying. Thank you. And I can't say thank you enough.
The state named that cemetery a historic landmark back in the year 2000. Packets are now available for residents interested in becoming candidates for City Council. This year, places 1, 2, and 7 will be elected. Places 1 and 7 are single-member districts, meaning candidates must live within the boundaries of their respective districts. Place 2 is at large, so that candidates can live anywhere in Irving. The filing period runs through February 15th. Then early voting begins on April 22nd. Election day is May 4th. The City Secretary's office can answer election questions. That number is 972-721-2493. We also have election news from the Irving Independent School District. 5 of 7 seats on the school board will be on the ballot in that May election. They are District 1, District 3, as well as Districts 5, 6, and 7. School board candidates must have lived in Texas for the last year and lived in the district they wish to represent for the past 6 months. Like the city elections, the filing period for those school board positions also ends on February 15th. Additional information and forms are available at irvingisd.net/elections. In other news, Irving's Family Advocacy Center, which is part of the police department, depends on donations to fund a lot of its work to help victims. And it just got a boost from one of Irving's businesses.
Today, TXU Energy is making a $10,000 donation to the counseling department so that we can continue enhancing specifically our play therapy program.
The FAC's business is very important because it's intervening especially with children and young people who've had a trying time through no faults of their own. And what they do here is try to get those lives reset and on a productive and healthy path again.
We're fortunate here in Irving that we have such a strong corporate foundation, a corporate base that's willing to step outside of just paying their taxes. They look for opportunities to donate money to our nonprofits, which really in turn helps the city as a whole.
So this is the biofeedback room. We recently implemented biofeedback technology and neurofeedback to help the children learn how to self-regulate their physiological reactions after a trauma. And so that's one of the ways this donation is going to help us. And another way is by helping us enhance the counseling environment.
We provide counseling to help pull families back together, not just to how you manage the separation of the family, but giving those families ways and tools to stay together and be successful.
We are committed to communities where we do business, and we think it's important in Irving, which has been good to our company, that we make sure that we give back.
A nice gift there, and here is another way to benefit the FAC. The Irving Police Department is inviting residents to its Blue Tie Banquet. It is a chance to honor outstanding officers while raising money. The Blue Tie Banquet is Tuesday, March 5th at 6 p.m. at the Irving Convention Center. For tickets, go to cityofirving.org/2521. Women have a chance to learn self-defense techniques through the Irving Police Department's Rape Aggression Defense, or RAD class. You can see video here of past RAD sessions to get an idea of what it's about. The next class is set for March 4th through 7th from 6:30 until 9:30 p.m. and participants must attend all 4 days. It is open to girls as young as 12 and up to all adults. The class starts with lessons on awareness and risk avoidance before getting into some of these physical exercises. It is free, but registration is required, and the classes do fill up quickly. So to sign up, contact Officer Jill Smith at jsmith@cityofirving.org or call 972-721-2746. Many organizations look for speakers for meetings and events, and the Irving Fire Department is offering to help. The department offers free safety education classes and can even bring out a fire engine or other equipment in many cases. There are topics for children and adults. The department asks that you reach out at least a month before your event, and here's how. Go to cityofirving.org/607 or call 972-721-2651. That's also where to go to reach out to arrange a station visit. Now it's time for our Pets of the Week. Here's Brett at the Animal Care Campus.
Hello everyone and welcome to this week's Pets of the Week. I'm Brett Wheeler. This is Michael Whiteside, and today we have Sydney. So Michael, tell me a little about her.
Well, she's about 5 years old. She was actually an owner surrender because her owners, it was a couple, and one of them developed Alzheimer's, and it was too difficult for the other one to take care of their significant other plus Cindy. So they brought her in here. She is one of the friendliest dogs that we've had in a long time. She's never met a stranger. She's a big old wiggle butt. She just will wag her tail, and she loves belly rubs. She loves being in your lap, and she's just an all-around great girl.
All right, Michael, we're getting to know Angus here. Tell me a little about him.
Angus is about 10 months old, so he's definitely puppy. He's got a lot of puppy energy. He loves giving kisses, as you can tell, and he's always seems to be on the hunt for something. So when you're walking on the leash, he's kind of squatted down like he's looking for something, but he's really, really friendly. So he's just ready to go home with a fun family that's going to have a lot of time to spend with him to get rid of some of that extra energy, as well as teach him some commands and how to be a good member of the family.
At 10 months old, he is a lot of energy, but he's also a really big dog. Do you think he's going to get any bigger than this?
He will probably get a little bit bigger, but he's kind of stocky and compact. He's really strong, but I think he's mostly just going to stay kind of stocky, although he will probably get a little bit bigger, but he's a sweet, sweet boy.
All right, Michael, now we're back with Zach. Tell me about Zach.
Zach is about 7 months old. He's a boxer mix, definitely all puppy. He was actually adopted, but the family wasn't quite ready for the antics of a puppy. You know, a lot of times people don't realize how much work puppies actually take.
What is your advice for people who are interested in getting a pet and they are looking at a puppy? What would be your tip as far as people trying to navigate should they get a puppy or not?
Really, it's all about, do you have the time and the energy to put forth to actually work with a puppy? Because again, they need that training. They don't learn it on their own. So you're gonna have to work with them, teaching them, basic obedience skills, work with them on getting a routine set, work with them on getting exercise and get rid of some of that extra energy so that they don't become destructive. So it's really all about knowing that you do have the time commitment and the energy commitment to put toward a puppy.
Now, it's really obvious to me that he's going to make a perfect pet for someone in the future. But for those who currently have pets who are looking to get them maybe fixed, spayed, neutered, the city of Irving has a program where you can come in here and get it for free.
Right. What we do, it's the free spay neuter program for City of Irving residents. So any resident of the City of Irving, if they can't afford to have their pet spayed or neutered, they can come here to the shelter and get a voucher that will cover the cost of a surgery through one of our partners, either Texas Coalition for Animal Protection or Spay Neuter neuter network. They can pick those up, and then they set up the appointment and they provide the voucher, and that will cover the cost of the surgery for their pet. And that will help because the number one reason pets end up in shelters in the first place is because of pet overpopulation.
And that is a really important cause, and it's a really important event for you to check out here at the Irving Animal Care Campus. Back to you, Thomas.
All right, thanks a lot. The Animal Care Campus is located at 4140 Valley View Lane. It is open Tuesday through Friday from 11 a.m. until 6 p.m. Then on Saturday, the hours are 10 a.m. until 5 p.m. Also, check out the websites you see on your screen for more adoptable animals. We are seeing new hotels and new restaurants in Irving, and we'll take you to the event focusing on the impact of all of that next time on City Source. Also, improvements are complete at Irving's Heritage House. We are checking them out as people enjoy one of the Heritage Society's annual celebrations. Remember, you can always email us your thoughts on our stories. The address is ictn@cityofirving.org. Also, visit our YouTube channel at youtube.com/thecityofirving. Subscribe and you can be among the first to see our videos when they are posted. Also, leave us some likes while you're there. And that's it for this edition of City Source. We leave you now with more of the work on Irving's signature bridge across State Highway 114. Thanks to everyone who was a part of this one, and thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.